Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Will your team fall victim to the trap? We see it every year. Your team is playing a game that everybody knows you should win, but you have a slightly eerie feeling about it. And you know that if your team doesn't play to their full potential, doesn't play at 100%, well, they may lose a game that they should win. It's the trap game, and everybody has one. Today, guys, we're taking a look at every single SEC team's trap game heading into 2023, sharing our thoughts on each of these games and also getting you ready, not just for this season, but for prediction season right here at the Gridiron Expert coming your way in a few weeks. We'll be breaking down these trap games and letting you know which of these teams we actually do have falling victim to the trap. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over at our website, thegridironexpert.com. You do not want to miss out on that. And you don't want to miss out anything over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Other than the expert picks, a lot of other exclusive content there for you guys to help you get through this off season. Because again, guys, here at the Gridiron Expert, college football never dies. The season never ends. We want you to be a part of our GE Nation. So let's take a look at the SEC trap games. And hey, we're going over to the whiteboard. It's been a hot minute since we've come to our whiteboard, so we apologize. It was a little hard to read. It's been well over 6 months since we brought this thing back out, but we're knocking the rust off. But you take a look in alphabetical order here, starting with Alabama. Their trap game, October 7th at Texas A&M. No doubt about it. The week before, they play at Mississippi State. Then they go to Texas A&M. Mississippi State is certainly no slouch, but the Aggies have given Alabama everything they can handle. Alabama lost in College Station back in 2021 and then barely beat the Aggies in Tuscaloosa last year without Bryce Young. Jalen Milroe getting the start in that game and literally the game coming down to the very last play. A&M so close to pulling off that upset. The Aggies now looking at a new-look offense led by Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator. College Station, not easy to play at for anybody. If Alabama's offense is not up to par, they do have quarterback questions right now, then A&M could pull off this upset. Arkansas, their trap game, September 16th against BYU. It's one of those weird things, guys. BYU is a Power 5 team now. They're a member of the Big 12. Arkansas is going to be looking to go to 3-0. They should win their first 2 games. They're going to be anxious to start 3-0 with a win over BYU, and then they head into conference play. It's their first game before SEC play starts at LSU. The BYU guys, Keaton Slovis comes in as quarterback, replaces Jaron Hall. It's a good replacement for them. They probably are going to have a pretty stingy defense once again. And this is an Arkansas team that I could see looking ahead over BYU, a team they beat 52-35 in Provo last year, getting ready for LSU and could slip up in Fayetteville. Arkansas cannot afford to overlook a quality Big 12 opponent. Auburn, their trap game, people are going to laugh and say it's crazy, but it's at Vanderbilt. Look, this is the Vanderbilt team that beat Kentucky and Florida last year. This is an Auburn team that, before playing Vanderbilt, is going to have to play LSU, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State in consecutive weeks. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough out for Auburn because this is a Vanderbilt team that is definitely improving. It's an Auburn team that has a lot of questions right now. And if Auburn does not live up to the hype by the time they get to November, if they're struggling a little bit, I would not be shocked to see Vanderbilt pull off this upset. No one thought the Commodores would beat Kentucky last year. No one thought they beat Florida last year. And yet they did. They were 1 win away from bowl eligibility. So watch out if you're Auburn for that November 4th game in Nashville. Florida, they're same day as Auburn, but it's against Arkansas. So this is another interesting trap game here too. Arkansas, I can't remember the last time they've won the Swamp. I don't know if they ever have. If it was probably back in the 90s, I believe. But this is a Florida team that is not having very good expectations entering the year. The offense is struggling mightily. A lot of questions on that side of the ball. Year 2 for Billy Napier is a big one, and there's not a lot of hype or high expectations surrounding this Florida team. The Gators will be coming off the Georgia game, which is always a big one. Big-time rivalry game. Could be super hungover, especially if that game gets ugly. And it's an Arkansas team that's not bad by any means. Quality quarterback in KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, a revamped wide receiver core, a defense that Stan Pittman really revamped through the transfer portal this year. If Florida is struggling, they could drop a game in the Swamp to the hungry Razorbacks. Georgia, their trap game is really the only game that I think they could lose on their schedule this year, and that is at Tennessee on November 18th. They defeated the Volunteers 27-13 last year in Athens. Obviously, Knoxville will be rocking for this game because this very well could be a battle between 2 playoff contenders and maybe could determine who wins the SEC East. It's that big of a game. Georgia's schedule, for the most part, is a cakewalk up until this point, so it's only natural that the only game they could lose is certainly the trap game for them as well, again, in Knoxville at Tennessee. Kentucky, September 23rd at Vanderbilt. Crazy to see Vanderbilt on here twice, but it's true. This is the Wildcats team that's dealing with a lot of new pieces, namely at quarterback, bringing in Devin Leary to replace Will Levis. They lost to Vanderbilt last year. They lost 24-21 to the Commodores last year, so you can't just write this off as an immediate win for the Wildcats, especially with the way that Clark Lee is improving this Commodores football program. I would expect Kentucky to probably be 3-0 entering this Vanderbilt game. Could see them overlooking the Commodores again and slipping up. It is on the road, too. Vanderbilt doesn't have a huge home field advantage, but any road game is not going to be easy. So Kentucky certainly needs to watch out to avoid their second straight loss to Vandy. For LSU, it is a road game at Missouri on October 7th. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. LSU will play at Ole Miss the week before, so that's a big one there. Big-time rivalry game there. Major SEC West title implications. You wonder for LSU, are they going to be on the high from beating Ole Miss? Will they be hung over if they lose to Ole Miss? Missouri, certainly no slouch. We talked about them as an SEC sleeper, and this is a Missouri team that has a pretty stingy defense if everything goes according to plan. The defense could be very, very good this year. Again, an LSU team is going to have a lot of big tests prior to this. They play Florida State in the season opener, at Mississippi State. They play Arkansas. They play at Ole Miss, and then they draw at Missouri. This could be a game the Tigers maybe overlook, and the Tigers of Missouri stun LSU just like they did back in that COVID season. Mississippi State, down here, September 9th against Arizona. This will be the first true test under their brand new head coach in Zach Arnett. So naturally for me, it is a trap game. Yes, it's in Starkville. Yes, Mississippi State beat the Wildcats pretty handily last year, 39-17 in Tucson. But again, first true test with a new coach. Somewhat of a different scheme. Arizona certainly improving under Jed Fish, especially offensively with Jaden DeLora leading the charge. This is a game that could feature a lot of points and a lot of passing yards. A lot of fun to watch. Can't overlook them if you're the Bulldogs. Missouri, October 21st against South Carolina. Not many trap games really for Missouri this year, but the South Carolina game's intriguing. This is a game against the Gamecocks that comes right before their bye week. They play at Kentucky the week before that. So it's at Kentucky, South Carolina, then the bye week. The Tigers are certainly going to be wanting to get to that week of rest, especially this late in the year, almost late October. They beat South Carolina on the road last year, 23-10, but South Carolina certainly should be improving a little bit. So it feels like this could be a game where Missouri's like, we won last year on the road, we should be able to win at home, but the Gamecocks easily could get revenge. That's why I'm kind of listing it as a trap game here. But watch out for Missouri, guys. This is a team that if they're going to do their damage, it's going to come in that first half of the season. South Carolina could be one of them. Ole Miss, September 9th at Tulane. How can it not be, right? The Tulane team that won 12 games last year, won the American Conference, and then beat USC in one of the best Cotton Bowls we've ever seen. They return Michael Pratt at quarterback. The defense loses a handful of key starters. The offense loses a lot of starters outside of Pratt. But you know New Orleans is going to be rocking. Tulane riding the momentum from last year, now getting to host a potential maybe top 25 SEC team on their home turf. This is a game that Ole Miss could drop, especially as they battle some quarterback questions of their own. So one of the most intriguing non-conference games of all of college football, in my opinion. Can Tulane keep the wave? Can they keep riding the wave of momentum, or will Ole Miss quiet it down? South Carolina, October 14th against Florida. You look at the Gamecocks, right? They're coming off a bye week when they take on Florida, so that's huge. But that can go one of two ways. You're either well-rested and ready to go, or you're still a little tired and hungover against a Florida team that may not be great, but still annihilated the Gamecocks last year. Absolutely destroyed them last year. So it's something to kind of watch out for, again, on October 14th. This is a South Carolina team as well that has a very brutal start to their season. Could be sitting at 2-3 or worse record-wise with some of the tough games they have. We hope that's not the case, but it is a rough go-round for Shane Beamer early on. If the record's bad and they're hungover after the bye week, Florida could pull off the upset. Tennessee, their trap game is September 23rd against Texas San Antonio. Sounds kind of crazy, but this is a team in the American, guys. It's going to be dangerous this year. Has one of the better returning quarterbacks and one of the more experienced quarterbacks in all of college football, and Frank Harris. The offense is going to be phenomenal. And you look at Tennessee's schedule. This UTSA game comes after their game against Florida and before South Carolina. So it's kind of sandwiched in there. And keep in mind, South Carolina was the team that ruined Tennessee's college football playoff hopes last year. I could see the Volunteers maybe overlooking UTSA, ready to get revenge against the Gamecocks. This is not a Roadrunners team you can afford to overlook. They can beat you. They are good enough to beat you. I don't know if they will, but Tennessee does have to be cautious of that, no doubt about it. Couple more here. Texas A&M. I would say they have 2 trap games. The main one, though, is September 9th at Miami. That's the big one for me. The Hurricanes could easily pull off this upset. They nearly did it in College Station last year. Now it's in Coral Gables down in Miami. It's going to be tough. It's just a matter of whether or not Miami has bounced back enough from a disappointing season. So 2 very disappointing teams from 2022 facing off in Miami in Week 2. Huge game for both programs. A&M has to be careful, though, because there's a lot of expectations and a lot of doubt surrounding Jimbo Fisher. If they go ahead and drop that Week 2 game and are 1-1 going into Week 3, the doubts are going to just continue to rage, and they're going to want Jimbo out more than they already have been. So that's a big trap game and a monumental game for the Aggies. And then over here for Vanderbilt, September 16th at UNLV, a Vanderbilt team that certainly seems to be improving, but so is UNLV out in the Mountain West, now led by Barry Odom, brand new head coach out there, coming over from the defensive coordinator at Arkansas. This is a Vanderbilt team that if they want to go bowling, they've got to win all of their non-conference games. You lose this game to UNLV, even if you win your other 2, it's going to be pretty hard to get that 6th win because it's going to require a handful of conference victories, and that's obviously easier said than done in the SEC. So UNLV, bit of a trap game, far ways to go for Vanderbilt from Nashville to Vegas. Vegas alone is a lot of distractions, something to keep your eye on heading into this season. So there you go, guys. Those are your big trap games for every single SEC team. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Will these teams take care of business? Who will fall victim to the trap? We'll have those answers for you here in a couple of weeks when we start prediction season, but we want to start that conversation now. So leave those comments down below. And of course, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, to comment, subscribe, share the videos, and check out everything down in the description below, because here at the Gridiron Expert, college football never dies, and we want you to become part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.